Hey, Shalawam, Shalawam. Pray I'm coming through loud and clear. Shalawam, Shalawam. I'll get started in about a minute. Hey, first and foremost, facing the east, giving all praises, honor, and glory be to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the great millstone, which rule well and teach well in sincerity, taught us this truth. And Shalawam to the Lord's hopeful elect, 144,000 men, as well as 1/3 men, women, and children, maintaining themselves, keeping the laws, commandments, and statutes to the best of their ability. It's your brother Urami Kazak back with hope another edifying lesson through the spirit, power, and strength of Yahawah Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, and Kakadash. As always, Yahawah is the name of the Father. That means He is, He exists. Bahasham means in the name. Yahawashi is the name of the Son. That means He saves, He delivers. And Rakah Kodash equals a spirit that is holy. All right? That's all in the Lashawan Kodash. Lashawan Kodash equals holy language, holy tongue, or also known as the Paleo-Hebrew, ancient Hebrew. All right? So we're going to get into this one, man. This will simply be a Babylon news. I will covering multiple topics about certain things that's happening and throughout history and, throughout all times. All right? So let's start with a map showing what the U.S. would have looked like if every treaty with Native American nations had been honored. All right? Now, if you go into history about the colonization of North America and South America, all right, it would stem around 1521, okay, really 1492, when Cristobal Colon came over to this land, which really he landed in the Caribbeans. Okay, he never stepped foot in America, but he landed and then he reported back, and from there it was a wrap. All right, the Spanish was on the move, and then other countries was on the move, such as the British, the Dutch, the Portuguese, and the French. Okay, those were the main Edomite countries, established by Edomites that were colonizing at that point in time. So from 1492 to, really about, 19 and so, because they continued to colonize, that was on the move. They overtook, right? So doing that, they engaged and they made contact with a lot of Native Americans, which would be tribe of Gad and tribe of Reuben, okay? As you can see on the chart up above. Now we understand that the Northern Kingdom, which also would have been what? Puerto Ricans, Cubans, all right, Argentinians to Chileans, Colombians to Uruguayans, and Mexicans, etc., they would have been here as well. Now let's get a precept showing that. This is 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter, verse 40. And actually, we'll start at 39. And whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, those are the 10 tribes which are carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Oshea the king, whom Salmanassar, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. So this would be the Northern Kingdom. Now, if you look on the chart and you count from Simeon to Issachar, it's only 9 tribes. So it's a question to the comment board. Who would have been that 10th tribe that was with them? Does anybody know? And Shalawam, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Barak, Ahtham to all you brothers. All right. Hey, Amana wa Allah. Hey, beautiful, bro. Dan. Yes, indeed. So Dan would have been among the tribes. Yep, perfect. All right. And then also, as we know, they were going to go, to the Americas to basically try to keep their laws, commandments, and statutes. So they would also have to take with them some Levites, the priests, to keep the laws, commandments, and statutes, right? Because this is before Yahawashi came, and now every brother can be a priest. So this was during, a time period of the Levitical priesthood, right? So Levites would have to travel with them for them to keep the laws, commandments, and statutes, okay? So those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Oshea the king, whom Salmanassar the king of Assyria led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. Now, let's look up this history. So, for people that need visual representation, okay, let's just simply look up Assyria conquered Israel, and what's the dates on that? The Assyrian invasion and conquest of the northern kingdom of Israel occurred in stages between 732 and 720 BCE under the Neo-Assyrian kings Tiglath-Pileser III and Salmanassar V. So that's who we would be talking about, Salmanassar V. The Assyrians destroyed the kingdom, laid waste to cities like Samaria, and forcibly deported the Israelites across the empire, giving rise to the legend of the 10 lost tribes. Wow. Tying directly back into this. Those are the 10 tribes, right? The legend of the 10 lost tribes, okay? And those small hatters today that's in our land, which are nothing more than Amalekites, nation of Edom, they only have what? They only talk about they have 3 tribes, Levi, Judah, and Benjamin. Okay, they never talk about the other tribes. You understand? That furthermore lets you know that those are not the people, because the tribes are supposed to be oppressed together. So where's your northern kingdom at? You gonna tell the world that the northern kingdom was destroyed? Makes no sense. Okay? So as you can see, the history supports what we're talking about. Okay? And furthermore, 722 and 720 BCE, Salmanassar V and Sargon II. And a brother just did a lesson on this. I watched it the other day. All right, a little bit of it. Okay, so these are who you should know. Okay, we'll put mainly our people into captivity. But why did this happen? Because our people during this time, they were already worshiping these false gods of the Assyrians. So you give up your power, which is Yahawah, and you start to serve these false gods, these heathen gods, things of that nature. Then what happens to you? The Most High, he's no longer going to protect you and cover you. You chose who you wanted to serve, man. All right? This is why you had a lot of Israelites in Nineveh. This is why Jonah was sent to Nineveh. Okay? If you ever, because you always had that saying going on. And this is how certain Christians try to say that it's not just Israelites, it's the world. Why did Jonah go to Nineveh? Because they don't know the history. If our people were worshiping Assyrian gods, and Nineveh was one of the chief cities of the Assyrian captivity, then don't you think our people would be flocking into that land? Just how our people are in England, just how our people are in America, Washington, D.C., all right, France, okay? Our people are all over this empire. You understand? And they're worshiping this empire's gods. So it would have been the same back then, okay? This is why, man, Jake that be teaching sometimes, they have no understanding. They can't think. Nothing is new under the sun. You thinking just because it's ancient times, it's going to be different. No, man, Jake is coking and joking, fucking around, doing bullshit, the same as they was doing and the same as they doing right now. Nothing is new under the sun. It's just a different time period, okay? So, after King Hoshea, right? Didn't we address that? Who? In the time of Oshea the king. So this matches perfectly with the history. After King Hoshea of Israel withheld tribute and allied with Egypt. He went to Egypt thinking Egypt was about to protect them from Assyria. Salmanassar V laid siege to the capital city of Samaria. Following a 3-year siege, the city fell and thousands of Israelites were carried into exile into Mesopotamia and Media. Okay? Now, this would open the way for what would happen eventually. When Yahawashi came, what happened eventually when he dealt with the woman at the well in Samaria? That was not an Israelite. She would be known as a Kuthian, all right? A Hamite, because Sargon II established, he allowed those heathens to come into Samaria. You understand? He took our people out of that land, and he allowed heathens to come and take over that land. Therefore, they will believe foolishly through ignorance that this was their land. That's why she said, this is my father Jacob's well. We worship in the mountain. Bitch, we never worshiped in no mountain. We go to Jerusalem. Where's the Passover? Where are you supposed to go during the Passover? Do you supposed to go to the mountain? Or are you supposed to go to Jerusalem? Okay? So that furthermore, if you got enough common sense and you know our customs and our practices, all right, then you would understand that that woman was incorrect. She was not an Israelite. Okay? And I get one scripture just to prove that. This is John, the 4th chapter, verse 22. Ye worship, ye know not what. We know what we worship, and we are what? The Israelites, the Jews, for salvation is of the Jews. She don't even know what she worships. If you truly kept the customs and the culture, then you would have knew the correct way to worship and where to worship. Okay? So, going back to the history, as you can see, our people were exiled out of that land. Now, let's furthermore go back over here. Okay? So, all of this, we have proved all of this. King O'Shea, whatever you want to call him. All right? Salmanassar the fifth, okay? Whatever you want to call him. The king of Assyria. So, this is all historically accurate. You understand? It's all historically accurate. And this would have been the so-called Latinos and Native Americans. All right? They were led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. Because in Assyria, as it being an empire, they had conquered many lands, so it would have been many different nations in that empire. But our people was like, all right, let's leave the multitude of the heathen. All right, because we can't keep our laws, commandments, and statutes in this land. Can you keep your laws, commandments, and statutes perfectly in America? No, you cannot. Right? When is the Sabbath day? All right, I asked you that question. Okay? Monday to Tuesday right now. Now, does this nation stop working when the new moon comes in? Does this nation reverence Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi? Okay? No. Does this nation produce bacon and pork and swine? Yes. Therefore, it's going against the laws, commandments, and statutes. You can't keep your laws, commandments, and statutes perfectly in this land. So this is what the Northern Kingdom was thinking at that point in time. All right? But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. Now, had anybody ever been to North America and South America at that point in time? That's a question for the comment board. Had anybody ever been to North America and South America at that point in time? Let's see if brothers be paying attention in the lessons. Cockerman, you know you aren't supposed to answer, bro. Okay, Doorman, you can't answer too, bro. You on the other side, bro. I wanted a new brother, man. Somebody. All right, whatever. Them brothers got it. All right, yes, Khan. Okay, and how do we know that? Let's go get it. 1 Kings, the 10th chapter. For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish with the navy of Haram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory and apes and peacocks. Now the Tarshish would be who you would know as the Spanish, but not the Spanish today, because the Spanish today are Edomites. They conquered that land. They took over that land. So this would have been Japhetic people, who you know as the Polynesians, the Samoans, etc., etc., the Hawaiians. This would have been Japhetic individuals. Sea peoples, they travel the seas. They know how to travel the seas, etc. And Haram would have been what you know as Hamites, okay? Or also known as the Phoenicians. They traveled the seas. So the King Solomon, he employed them. He had at sea a navy of Tharshish, Japhetic individuals, with the navy of Haram. So he employed Japhites and Hamites to travel the seas for him. And you would have had Israelites that traveled with them. Okay? So some of these Northern Kingdom brothers, they already knew how to do the journey because they've already done it before. We was traveling back and forth to North America, South America, bringing back, as it said, gold and silver, ivory and apes and peacocks. We was bringing back all these type of items back to Israel. So King Solomon exceeded all the kings of the earth for riches and for wisdom, and all the earth sought to Solomon to hear his wisdom, which power had put in his heart. Okay? Now, a key point is, for the navy had at sea a navy of Tharshish with the navy of Haram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tharshish. It took a year and a half to get to the Americas and a year and a half to get back. So this is also where you would get the Olmec heads. All right, let's get that real quick. And man, I'm telling you, when I was in the world, I used to study a lot, like looking up stuff. And I used to wonder what these heads was because I stumbled upon them one day and got into this truth and everything was explained to me, man. Okay? So the Olmec heads, these would have been simply landmarks that they built. These are simply landmarks that was built up. They're massive landmarks all throughout South America. Okay? So, but the point is that mankind did not dwell there. We simply went there, captured, as the brothers put, turkeys and things of that nature, and brought them back to the land of Israel. The majority of the world lived in what? Asia and Africa. Okay, because there's no such thing as Europe. It's all Asia or Asia Minor. That's all it is. All right, so going back to 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter, verse 41, but they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. And that further country would be what? The Americas, where never mankind dwelt. They never established colonies and stuff over there. They just went over there, got the resources, and brought it back. Verse 42, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. So therefore they needed Levites to be with them, so they could keep their statutes. They could keep their laws. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. And the same region is called Arsareth. It took them what? A year and a half to get there. Right? What did I just say? It takes a year and a half to get to America and a year and a half to get back. Right? With the technology that they had back then. With the ships that they had back then. Okay? It's easy to navigate the oceans. What? This is, look, and you don't know that you can navigate the oceans and you don't even think about it, but you can. Everybody in here, where does the sun rise at? What direction? What direction does the sun rise at? You know? All right, thank you. East. East. So when the sun rising, you know you going east. Where the sun sets in the west, you know that's west. All right, you have a what? You have a north star, the biggest star in the sky, that's north. So the opposite of that star is south. So it's easy to navigate this planet. The Most High created the stars, the moon, the sun for what? As a compass for us and as a calendar for us. It's to guide us. So you would have, what they had on the boat was, it's like this little, they would have a container and they would have water in it and it would reflect it would reflect, and you could basically navigate off of that. That's an old thing and the pirates used it as well, man, to navigate the seas. When you think about all these pirate stories and all that, they knew how to navigate. This is old, ancient technology, man. It's common sense, right? So the Edomites, Christopher Columbus was not the first one to sail the seas. Magellan was not the first one to sail the seas. All these individuals you learned about in elementary school or high school or whatever was not the ones to sail the seas. The Israelites were sailing the seas first, man. Okay? The other nations as well. Japhites, Hamites. Okay? You know, it's stop thinking it's such a magnificent accomplishment. It's not. It's common sense. The Most High did not make us stupid. Nobody was in cloth and freaking loincloths, whatever, in the beginning. No, we was created, bro. Adam was this close to the Most High. So we came out with ultimate knowledge. We came out with perfect memories. You understand? That's why the laws was given to us verbally. So we could remember every single law. We could remember everything. Our memories was perfect. We was working at 100%. This place was not destroyed how it is. The earth was a paradise. It was no deserts. It was straight vegetation everywhere. You wanted some food? It was apple tree, fruit, orange tree, whatever. Everything was there for you. You understand? It was a paradise. That's what Eden means, a paradise. And then the Garden of Eden, which would have been Jerusalem, was in the center of paradise, where Adam would have ruled from. And that's what we're entering back into. Yahawashi being Adam, ruling once again this whole place and the universe. All right. So keeping it going, verse 45. For though that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsareth, which simply means far away land. It was a year and a half away. It was a far away land. Then dwelt they there until the latter time. And now when they shall begin to come. All right. What? 1492. Okay. When these individuals began to come. So the Native Americans and the Latinos, they were already in America since 720 BC. Right. That's what we're understanding. So they was already over here for about damn near 1,000 years before. No, that actually about 2,000 years or so before the colonizers ever came, right? Matter of fact, let's do the math. Let's do the math perfectly, okay? 720 plus 1492. They was over in this land for 2,212 years before an Edomite ever stepped foot in America, ever stepped foot in South America, North America. That's how long the Northern Kingdom was in America. All right? So that's beautiful. Now let's go back to the post. Maps showing what the U.S. would have looked like if every treaty with Native American nations had been honored. And let's look at it. What can you see right here? I'm going to zoom in. I'm just zooming like that. Okay? The Seminole nations. The Seminole Indians. Now what is that? That's the tribe of Reuben. Right there. Tribe of Reuben. Okay? The Seminole Indians. Right? So their land, they would have primarily had Florida, man. This is what they, this is where they dwelt at majority of the time. Okay? So it was a treaty made that they would have damn near all of Florida. But Esau broke every single treaty he's ever made. You understand? He breaks every single treaty he's ever made. Right? Cherokee. This was supposed to be their land. But that treaty was broke. Okay? Iroquois. All right? That treaty was broke. Every single treaty was broke. So America was not supposed to be in the hands of... Look at all of California, man. Indians of California. And if you go back to that coin... it's a California coin or it's California state logo. Basically, it had Native Americans on that logo. Okay. So Gad was all over all over. And treaties were made, but every single treaty was broke. Every single treaty was broke. All right? Now let's get a precept. Because that's in the scriptures. Everything that we saying is in the scriptures. Okay? This is Genesis, the 49th chapter, and verse 19. Gad, a troop shall overcome him. Now, what did Gad do? Gad fought. A lot of these times, this was through war, man. Gad was fighting. Especially, I just watched it, man. What's old boy name? I forgot his name, but he was in the Sioux nation. It slips my mind. But he was a great warrior. Geronimo, that's not him, but Geronimo was a great warrior. Like, hey, Gad was giving work to these Edomites, especially in guerrilla warfare, in the woods, in the forests. Gad would surprise attack them. The water ox, Sitting Bull. Yeah, I just watched that documentary like 2 months ago. So Sitting Bull was giving them hell. But what did he do? What did he do that messed him up? He made a treaty. And what did Esau do? What Esau always does. They broke the treaty. So Sitting Bull was put into a compromising position. You understand? But it's because of prophecy. Gad, a troop shall overcome him. The American military shall overcome him. But he shall overcome at the last. So what's going to happen? We're eventually going to overcome these damn devils, man. Okay? That have us in captivity, that have us trapped. So, and all of this will be destroyed. All right? And we're going to get our land back. And we're going to get further more than that. Mansions. All right? Planets. Things of that nature. You understand? But hey, we say that, man, you know, you got some scoffers out here that'll be like, are you on a type of substance or something? You talking about we about to have planets. We about to be able to leave the atmosphere and travel in spaceships and things of that nature. All right? It's real sci-fi. You think I'm talking about some Stargate Galactica or something? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly, bro. And Gad knew that that's why they had hope and prophecy. Exactly. Let's get a fact. Swing Low, Sweet Chariot was written by what? A Gadite. Okay? Written by William Wallace or William, let me see. All right, right here. Swing Low, Sweet Chariot is an African-American spiritual originating in the mid-19th century. It is widely attributed to Wallace Willis, an enslaved man, Choctaw, freed man, right? But it said this is an African-American spiritual. So this is furthermore letting you know that they categorize Gad as Negroes. That's why they just simply called you colored. This is why you had Gadites that were extremely dark-skinned. You understand? You have what you know as the Black Seminoles. Okay? Hey, Shalawam to my brother Kawas. I got you. Matthew 6 and 33. And it reads, but seek ye first the kingdom of power and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Kind. That's where you should have your mindset. All right? Seeking Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi first. Not everything else that this world can give to you. The Most High can make a man rich. He can bring a man down. He can bring a man to the grave. He can raise a man from the grave. We may be martyred in these times, and he'll bring us back to life. You got to have this type of faith. Okay? The Most High is still working, man. All right? Just because you don't see brothers out here healing brothers like that or bringing people back to life and things of that nature, it's not the time for that. Right now, we're teaching you this word. We're giving you this foundation. We're giving you this understanding. This is what you need to take in first and foremost, is the word, man. Okay? At the end of the day. Through all of that, things, planets, chariots, women, substance, resources. Money means nothing. They're about to take all your money away and give you a digital ID and give you this digital system and give you a UBI, Universal Basic Income, every single month that you're going to be giving everybody like $2,500. You understand? So your savings and your money doesn't matter. All right? In the kingdom, we're going to have resources. Brothers is going to own mines. We're going to have our Edomites working in mines, mining all different type of minerals. Okay? Brothers is going to have corporations. All right? We're gonna have the Walmarts, but it's going to be done in a righteous way. Okay? Every brother will have a garden on his plantation, man. You understand that? Yeah, exactly. Every brother will have cattle. Brothers will, you want some lamb? You go out there and cut a lamb up. You want some beef? You go out there and cut a cow up. You want some eggs? You got chickens. Okay? We ain't gonna have to go to nobody for nothing. We will be self-sufficient. And we will have servants and slaves. That's salvation, baby. No fear of our enemies. Our enemies will be under us. As Yahawah said, I make your enemy your footstool. What is a footstool? Something you put your foot on. Okay? So let's keep it going. So as we understand, Wallace Willis wrote the song Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. So as the brother said, Gad had hope that Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi was going to come and save them. Swing low, sweet chariot, right? Come forth and carry us home. Okay? Even in the 350 years that we were dead. Okay? The spirit was crying out. It's like, yo, we ready to go. How much more now that we know what the devil is? We know who the devil is. We know what times we are in. We measuring the times diligently. We are ready to go even more. Okay? So he's a Choctaw freed man in Oklahoma. The lyrics draw on the biblical story of the prophet Elijah's ascension to heaven in a fiery chariot. So for you individuals out here, and that's the thing, if your congregation does not teach about chariots, so-called UFOs, what's up with them? It's all throughout the Bible. Okay? Why are they not teaching about chariots? Okay? Let's get that precept. This is Psalm 68 and 17. All right? And it reads, the chariots of power are 20,000, even thousands of angels. Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi is among them, as in Sinai in the holy place. So the chariots of power are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The angels, all right, drive the chariots. These are their vehicles. These are their vessels. These are their transportation devices. This is how you go from one dimension to another dimension. You need a chariot, man. This is why Esau will never escape this planet. They can't leave. They don't have the technology to leave. Let's get another precept on that. All right. He constantly wants to, what? Amos 9 and 2. Though they dig into hell, thence shall mine hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. So you can constantly launch your little spaceships and your rockets, but you will never leave this atmosphere, buddy. You can dig into the ground and build your underwater bases and stuff of that nature, but you will never be able to escape. You have waters above and you have waters below, and you are trapped in the middle, right? You don't have the technology to get up out of here, okay? So, you know, on the point being of that, all of that, going back to the point, is that Esau broke every single treaty they ever made with Gad and with Reuben. They broke every single treaty. America should look entirely different, right? But this colonizer is known for breaking treaties. Let's get one more precept on this, and then we can move on. This is Micah 2, 1 and 2. Woe to them, all right, destruction, to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. And they covert fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man in his heritage. When you are a Native American, but they're telling you that you are a Negro, isn't that a form of oppression? You can't trace your people back. You don't have, and then they give you these false type of websites such as Ancestry.com, which that doesn't accurately depict who you are. Okay? They never tell you that you're an Israelite from the tribe of Judah, from the tribe of Gad, from the tribe of Issachar. Okay? They never explain your history. Our history is deep, and it's a beautiful history. But Esau oppresses that history. He doesn't want you to know where you came from, so you won't know where you're going. Because if he told you that you're the sons of God, then the Bible pertains to you. Let's get Romans 9:4 real quick. All right? All of this pertains to you. Verse 3, actually. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach. For my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, which is what? The blood. The flesh, the blood. You are what your father is. Your father is what his father is. Going back, all the way to Jacob. All right? Who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants. That's the old and the new covenant. Okay? And the giving of the law, the laws. So the laws pertain to us. So therefore we can only sin. The other nations never got the law. They wasn't in the desert with us, walking through the desert. Okay? And the service of power and the promises. You understand? The promises, salvation, all right? Spiritual powers, all these different type of things. Okay? Exactly, brother. Psalms 83. These people rose up against us, man, with much hatred. Right? So let's move on to the next thing I got lined up. And this one, I'm not going to play it more than once because it may get the live took down. But this is the future. Okay? So I'm going to play this real quick and then we'll talk about it. All right. So what you see right there is drone warfare. Okay? This is being utilized all over the planet now. Okay? And this will be utilized in America. So for any individual in here, you thinking about getting ammo and things of that nature and fighting the government, right? It's not going to work out. For this individual talking about the chart is fake, well, just forget about all that right now. The chart is not fake, but you need to worry about these drones and stuff that is going to come and take you out. You sitting over here talking about clueless things, okay? Stuff that has already been broken down many of times, all right? And you're a female with fake hair, you know? Why are you in the church talking, female? Come on now. This is why women are deprived of wisdom. You are not called by the Most High to teach, man, okay? You coming over here into my congregation trying to disrupt and confuse the sheep that are actually listening and taking in this truth. Let's get a precept real quick. All right? Because the sister is in ignorance. This is Proverbs 8. And we'll start at 1. Doeth not wisdom cry, and understanding put forth her voice. She standeth in the top of high places by the way in the places of the path. She crieth at the gates, at the entry of the city, at the coming in at the doors. This is what we do. All right? We get out on the highways and the hedges and we preach. We stand in front of high traffic areas and we preach to our people. Until you do that, sister, which you don't supposed to do that, because we about to read a scripture that tells you not to do that. So it's not your position to even take that position, to take that stance. How many of you women want to go out on the corner in 105 degrees on your period and teach? Any women in here? No, the Most High did not make you to do that. It's not your position. You understand? Sometimes Dudes out there, they want to get aggressive. They want to get all up in our faces. They want to throw stuff at us. They want to cuss at us. Women are not supposed to be like that on the front lines. So it's not your position to teach, sister. You understand? That is not your position. When you try to step into a man's lot, then you have to deal with what a man has to deal with. And the Most High did not set your body and your emotions up to handle that. All right? Verse 4. Unto you, O men, I call, and my voice is to the sons of man. You understand? Okay? So women are not emotionally able to do what a man can do. You need to push out that equality and that feminism in your mind. And then furthermore, you're out of line by coming in here and trying to distract. If anybody has any type of questions on anything, I take questions at the end. We do things decently and in order. You understand? This is how I run a productive classroom. So this is Jeremiah 39:17. Because power has deprived her of wisdom, neither hath he imparted to her understanding. Okay? So, furthermore, the man is what? Under Yahawashi. And therefore, the woman is under the man. It's an order of things. It's an order how stuff is supposed to go. All right? Now, let's get back. As you saw, drone warfare. This is what Esau is doing. I'm going to go to Revelation, the 13th chapter. And we'll start at verse 12. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. That's talking about Rome. Okay? Rome suffered a deadly wound. Rome was destroyed pretty much. You know, and you thought it was over, but now Rome is back. Rome 2.0. You have Colosseums, you have gladiator games, you have all this different type of stuff that is a Roman origin, Greek origin, all right? And all these different type of false gods, false religions origin, okay? If you ever look up the origin of Christmas, the origin of Halloween, the origin of Valentine's Day, it all goes back to the Romans and the Greeks, all right? But in America, they worship and serve all these different type of things. This is called paganism. It's just a false god with a different type of name. Oh, take your kid to the mall. Let him sit on Santa's lap. That's some PDF file mess, man. I'm not letting my daughter sit on a grown man's lap. The hell is wrong with you? You ever thought about that? Come on, man. So this place is exercising the power of old ancient Rome, with all of its wickedness. 13, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beasts, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. The beast, this Edomite kingdom. The earth right now is ruled by the YT people, and we can all agree on that. Okay, that's not in debate. You look at everybody that's maintaining, what are they doing, bro, with their military? With who makes the laws? YT men. Who's putting taxes on everything? YT men. Who's raising your rent? YT men. Okay? Who establishes everything? Who runs the WEF, WHO, CDC? Who shut the country? Who shut the world down in 2020? Was it me? Was it some Negroes? No. It was the YTs. All right? The Edomites. That's who they are known as in the Bible. Edom, who the Most High hates. The devil. Okay? At the end of the day, man. Yeah, that's another one. Who's giving you fake food? Who's giving you 3D printed lab meat? Who's giving you cockroach milk? Who's giving you all this type of abominable stuff? All right? Kill Bates. He coming out and telling you, hey, we need to stop with the cows because the cows are destroying the earth. And how is the cows destroying the earth? Everything that the Most High made is good. It was made to be fruitful and multiply. You understand? You are destroying the earth by spraying all your chemicals in the atmosphere, by producing all your GMOs, your fake fruit. All right? You have destroyed the earth. You never allow the earth to rest. All you do is drill the blood of the earth, which is the oil. All you do is drill gas. That's all you do. Romans 1:25. Who turned the truth of power into a lie? Okay? Who told you to worship the creature over the creator? You understand? So, furthermore, in this verse 14, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles. Those miracles is these type of things. Once again. All right. These are different type of miracles. Drones, AI, all of that type of stuff that's happening. You understand? So this is what's taking place. Elon talking about he can make the blind see. He can make the handicapped walk. Right? Yeah, that's another one, brother. They got those guns, those weapons where they can basically make your brain melt. They have sound weapons, which they can deploy them and make you sit down. They're also deploying, music is a form of witchcraft. All right? All of that tainted, corrupt rap music that you people listen to, the mess is trash. And it destroys your kids. It's got your daughter talking about, what's that shit? Scamming, steal that shit. Steal that shit. Come on, man. Is that something to chant? Is that something that you want to be, encouraging your household? Stealing stuff? The scripture says, thou shalt not steal. But this is your song that you're playing constantly around the house? All right? Come on. Sister, if you want to know what we learning, just sit back and learn. All right? Let me get that real quick because it's a lot of people in here. It's a certain way that we do things. It's Ecclesiastes 5:1. Keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of power, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thine heart be hasty to utter anything before power, for power is in heaven, and thou upon earth. Therefore let thy words be few, for a dream cometh through the multitude of business, and a fool's voice is known by multitude of words. And precepting that with James 1:19. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. So for everybody, this is a way to come in. You come in, you listen, you observe, and you pick up what's going on. All right? You got to treat this thing as you're coming into class in college. You don't just walk into the classroom and be like, hey, teacher, what we learning today? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not picking on you, sis, but this is many people. They do this. So our people being taught up by this YT man, we have lost order. We have lost guidance. We have lost instruction. All right? We have lost the wisdom of our nation. Okay? So let's move on. Let's move on to the next one. And we probably going to end it with this one, because I actually got to get up out of here in about 20 minutes. So, Israel is spying on Christian Americans in the largest surveillance geofencing campaign. Now, another country is spying on you. And that only can happen if your government allows them to exist in this country. This is why the IDF and the U.S. military is joining as one. Because this is the ultimate war. This is what's happening. It's about to be warfare on the American people and, more importantly, the Israelites. This is what's taking place. You understand? New documents reveal that Israel is targeting every major church and college camps in California, Arizona, Nevada, college campuses, Arizona, Nevada, and Colorado, and others across the western U.S. Israel has geofenced hundreds of churches and Christian colleges. if you notice, that was put out a couple months ago that over like 150 pastors went to Israel and they got taught how to teach, what to teach, and they actually got paid. So that's another way of selling out. That's what you're doing. You're selling out. You're taking a bag to teach a specific doctrine and not to teach the truth. Okay? So this is what's happening in your black church. This is what's happening in every church. Your Joel Osteens, your T.D. Jakeses, okay, your Joyce Myers, whoever it be, your Cleflo Dollars. These guys will sell out for money, for paper, and they will teach you falseness. This is why you never learned that you were the sons of God, that you were Yasharahla. You understand? So that's what's going on, man. If you enter those sites with your phone, you will be surveilled and blasted with pro-Israel, anti-Palestine messaging. What happens? What on your phone? They control it. It's called the algorithm. They let you see what they want you to see. This is why the Most High told you to be diligent. Do you understand what diligent means? Let's get that word. Let's go to the etymology. You have to have diligence about yourself. You can't be surface level. Okay? Diligence, constant and earnest effort to accomplish what is undertaking. From Old French, diligence, attention, care, haste, speed, right? Attentiveness, carefulness, okay? Attentive, okay? So you need to give some attention to this and study. This brother says, so who are Africans? Africans are what you know as the Hamites. And they come from who? They come from Ham. Hamites, they come from Ham. Ham is four African nations. You have Phut, you have Canaanites, you have Cushites, and you have Mizraim, which are Egyptians. Okay, so that's the only ones that's Africans. We are not Africans. We may have dwelt in Africa for centuries, which you know as Negro land, West Africa, but we are not Africans. We are Israelites. We stem from Sham. Okay, you can trace Abraham's lineage back to Sham. So we are Shemitic. But furthermore, our nation is Israel. So we are Israelites, otherwise known as Yasharahla. So we are not Africans. Okay? That's a lie that's been fed to you for many of years, which that whole African-American thing came out of Jesse Jackson's mouth. All right? And this is why we are diligent. This is why we are constant and earnest effort to accomplish what is undertaking. We are constantly looking and diving into matters and understanding what's going on. Okay? So, once again, we are not ignorant of Satan's devices. This guy out here is surveilling you and watching your every move and your every step. Over 8 million Americans are estimated to have been targeted by a campaign designed to assert Israel's moral superiority and linking the Palestinian population with extremist factions. The campaign uses biblical arguments to highlight the importance of Israel and the Jewish people to Christians and counters new and evolving pro-Palestinian men as a global narrative shift. Exactly. So what are they doing? Let's go to Jeremiah. All they're doing is twisting the scriptures, man. All right? If you can't pay attention to that. Cursed be he that doeth the work of Yahawah deceitfully, and cursed be he that keepeth back his sword from blood. Once we get in the land, it will be peace. It will be no war. When they took over the land, 1948, it was nothing but war. Therefore, they are not the people. We come back into the land through what? Through our power and strength, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. We don't come back in the land by carnal means of taking it through paperwork and war. We don't have to do any of that. You going back to Israel is not going to do anything. You most likely will lose your life. Okay? What you need to do is stay put and wait and endure and wait on our king. That's what you need to do. Okay? What land am I talking about? I'm talking about the land of Israel, our land in Asia. That's the land I'm talking about. All right. So keeping it going, let's finish this one up. Is your pastor a secret Israeli agent? Official documents show Israel has paid for at least 1,070 U.S. pastors to visit their country in order to become unofficial ambassadors of apartheid. You understand? So, hey, once again, the black church is compromised. Celebrity agents of Israel. The documents show Israel wishes to recruit actors like Chris Pratt and sports stars Clayton Kershaw and Steph Curry to become their spokesman. Hey, and the bag will do it. The money will do it. Right? This is why you see these individuals talking about stand with Israel and all of that. The bag will do it. In fact, Israel is carrying out a genocide against Christians in Palestine since October 2023. Every church in Gaza has been targeted. All right, and that's pretty much it on that. You know? So, hey, man, I'm gonna wrap it up right there. Okay? If it's any type of questions, I'll take them right now. I'm gonna wrap it up right there. And I pray this was edifying to the flock, to the sheep. Okay? Any type of questions, man. Or any brother want to come up. I got like 20 minutes and then I got to go. Actually, really, I got 10 minutes. All right, go ahead. Ask your question, bro. Come on. Let's get it. Yeah, I'm a wine. That shows you that Amalek will do anything. You know? Mr. Eastside, you said that's false. That land is not our land. We came from this land right here in the Americas. That's 100% incorrect. Okay? That's 100% incorrect. All right? I'll show you that right now. But with a spirit like that, you most likely don't believe in the scriptures. But regardless, I'll show it to edify the people that are in here. So Jeremiah 50:29. Call together the archers against Babylon, all ye that bend the bow. Camp against it round about. Let none thereof escape. Recompense her according to her work, according to all that she have done, do unto her. For she hath been proud against Yahawah, against the Holy One of Israel. Now, if you actually know the scriptures, then America is going to be destroyed in nuclear hellfire. Okay? That's what's going to happen to this place. And the Lord's chosen people are going to be poured up out of this place and all over the planet. You understand? Now, America is going to be destroyed, man. Nobody will ever dwell in this place once again. Okay, so this is not the land. The Most High is going to establish us in our land once again. Okay, not this land. This land is polluted. This is what you know as the whore of Babylon, man. All right, going down here to verse 33. Thus saith Yahawah of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. We are oppressed together where? Where do you see all of these tribes at? You see them in America. Okay? That's where you see them at. You understand? We are oppressed in this land. If we was in our land, which you trying to say America is Israel, then it would be peace. Now, do you see peace on the planet? No, brother. So therefore, America is not Israel. This is our final captivity. You can't just say something and not prove it with the scriptures, man. You understand? So stop pushing that narrative. That narrative was actually, that's given to you by the YT man. Okay? The brother Amana Wa'ala said, I don't understand how 10 tribes ran to America and 3 tribes ran to West Africa. Brother, I'm not going to go through that again. But, okay, I'll explain it simply. As we went, you was in the beginning. I thought you was here in the beginning of the lesson. So you heard me break down how the Northern Kingdom went to the Americas. They left the Assyrian captivity. Okay? That's in the scriptures. We read that. 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter, verse 39 going down. So the easiest way to explain it is the northern kingdom was took over by the Assyrians. All right, I guess I got it. Let's go back. Okay? Those are the 10 tribes. This is the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land. They were took because, understanding this, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, how did they become northern kingdom and southern kingdom? They split. They split. All right? So therefore, they used to fight one another. So they were divided. All right? So the Assyrians captured the northern kingdom, took them into their land, and then, as it says, the northern kingdom took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. So this is what happened. They took it upon themselves to come to America. So that's how the northern kingdom got to America. All right, I bring up the brother Abaniah, but bro, I only got about 10 minutes, really. But I'll bring you up. And then, going into the history, you will understand that the Babylonians...
Shalawam.
Shalawam, brother. Yahawashi, Yasharahla.
Shalawam Malak, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakakadash, Barakata.
I just hit this point.
Are you hearing me, Malak?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can.
So then Judah, the Babylonian conquest of Judah was a series of military campaigns by King Nebuchadnezzar between 597 and 586. Brothers, y'all gotta read. Okay, so Judah was conquered later on. Now Judah would go through a set of captivities: the Babylonian captivity, the Persian captivity, the Greek captivity, and the Roman captivity. Okay? And then they would what? After the Roman captivity, they would flee to the mountains, as Yahawashi said. And the mountains would be what? Would be Africa. So 1 million or more of Israelites would go down into Africa, the land of Ham, and they would dwell there. All right? And yeah, you counting 13 tribes in your head because you had the tribe of Dan. So I get your confusion. But Dan would be engulfed into the other tribes, right? So we really don't speak about Dan anymore. You understand? So I get that right there. You got it though, bro. Hey, you got it, Abaniah.
All right, Tawada Malak. Just to hopefully add to all that you brought out, because I didn't come in at the start. Now I understand the confusion that people have in regards to the split, where originally it was 10 kingdoms. If you really look at it, the northern kingdom used to consist of how do I say this? How many people knew that the tribe of Levi used to be part of the northern kingdom? A lot of people didn't know that, because you have to go back to what the prophet told Jeroboam, right? And because of what Solomon did. So with the northern kingdom, which Jeroboam got 10 tribes, and Rehoboam got 1 tribe, but there was still another tribe, which would make up the 12, that the Lord kept and preserved to stay with the tribe of Judah. That is the tribe of Benjamin. So originally in the split, the tribe of Levi was part of the northern kingdom. But because Jeroboam sinned, and he caused Israel to sin, and he removed the Levitical priesthood from performing their duties, the Lord took them over to join with the tribe of Judah and the tribe of Benjamin to form what is known as the southern kingdom, preserving the promise that he made to David. And that's why with the removal of the tribe of Levi, you had the northern kingdom going into idolatry, as the scripture says. With the removal of the Levitical priesthood, it means that that tribe could have only gone into idolatry. If the priests were not there to ensure that the worship of Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi was preserved, the feast days kept, then obviously they would gradually slip away into idolatry, which did happen. And the Lord preserved the tribe of Judah as he promised Solomon, as he promised David. So when the brother stated that it used to have a tribe of Dan, for instance, we do not have the tribe of Dan anymore because they have been what we call integrated among the 12 tribes. There is no need for a tribe of Dan anymore. So those who were once Danites would not be Danites anymore. They might be Judah, Zebulun, Gad, Naphtali, whatever they have to be. The Lord absorbed them into the other tribes. Because remember, the Lord is still going to keep his promise to save the house of Israel. And just because you do not see Dan being named, it does not mean the Lord did not save the tribe of Dan. So the split in the kingdom is not hard to be understood. But if you don't understand why the split happened, the details of the split, then you would have questions like the brother have. He couldn't understand why 10 of the tribes went to America and 3 of the tribes went into West Africa. Right? That is how the Lord willed it. Right? Because in case a lot of people didn't know, because they probably did not study, Solomon knew of the Americas. He used to send Hiram and these men over there to gather resources to come to bring back to Jerusalem. You know? That's how he built the temple. Our people always... Oh, you touched on it, you see? That is the spirit. I just confirming what the brother said. The scriptures say out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses. Right? So we always knew about the Americas. Those were part of our lands. When you understand that it had no one dwelling there, our people knew of there. We used to go over there. Right? So it wasn't a foreign country to say we went. We knew of those lands. So after the fall of the Assyrian Empire, the Lord had it where our people, the northern kingdom, went over to those lands to fulfill the prophecy of going into what? Idolatry. Leave him be, he's going to go into idolatry. Right? And it was always the Lord's purpose to bring back the northern kingdom. But for the northern kingdom to come back, their brethren Judah, or the southern kingdom, had to come over to those lands to bring the gospel to them. That's why in Jeremiah chapter 3, you're going to see, as the brother read, the coming out of the lands of the north together. So this is how the Heavenly Father willed it. And we went into the west coast of Africa, which I saw the brother touch on, is due to the fall of Jerusalem in 70 AD. The Lord prepared America for the northern kingdom, and he prepared the west coast of Africa for the southern kingdom. But it was always his intention that we come back together to serve out this final captivity, which is the captivity in the Americas. That's why when you look on the 12 tribes chart, you notice the countries mentioned. It's not to indicate that all the Israelites are in those countries. It's to indicate, according to prophecy, that the bulk of the Israelites, according to prophecy and the fulfilling of it, will be found in these lands. We still have Israelites in China, still have Israelites in Russia. We have Israelites all over the world. Remember, Israel is a people that cannot be measured nor counted. But in regards to prophecy, this is why we have the 12 tribes chart stating these nations where Israel will be, and that's according to prophecy. That's where you have to understand. We know Israel is scattered amongst all nations. There is no denying that. But for prophetic purposes, the 12 tribes chart is accurate. Go ahead, my brother. I think you have it there. I just hope hopefully add to what you already brought out.
Yeah, that's beautiful, bro. The water. You know. And hey man, I gotta go. Conclusion of this whole thing. Pray that's been edifying, right? But I gotta go DoorDash. I gotta order. But man, hey, you know, yeah, Yahawah be live again later on tonight, all right, through the Spirit, right? And the water for all the precepts, the water for the support from Brother Abaniah. Good to see Brother Abaniah back up on here, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it's reminiscent, you know, nostalgia, all right? So, hey, with that being said, facing the east, giving all praises, honor, and glory be to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the great millstone. As always, Shalawam, Shalawam to the Lord's hopeful elect. Kwam Yasharahla, and a Baba Ball to this wicked kingdom, man. Keep the faith, brothers and sisters. Shalawam, Shalawam.